Okay, so I never thought we'd be doing a Run Free podcast together in the Himalayas. And you can actually see, like, if you look kind of close behind us, there's some 20,000-foot mountains. Do you know the names of any of them?
No.
No, we need to look that up.
You didn't look it up.
Yeah, so we wanted to do this podcast from, I want to say it, Pari Gudval. Did I get it close?
Yeah, so I was actually asking the guy upstairs because I grew up listening to this place as Pori.
Pari.
Yes, and I asked him, well, why there's an R there, P-A-U-R-I? And his explanation is that, it's for the silence effect. So they don't write it as Pori in English. More people can say is when it's Pori. But it's actually here, the locals call it Pori Gadwal.
So do they spell it with a D here?
No, they actually,
Okay.
I was looking up on Google and everywhere, it's P-A-U-R-I.
P-A-U-R-I.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this place that I think is unbelievable is I've had the chance to train in Flagstaff, in Mammoth Lakes, in Albuquerque, and
Crested Butte,
in
Kenya.
and so many places. This place has the nicest and second highest track in Asia. But the surface is like absolutely perfect. Like it's smooth, it's soft. And I think that probably has to do sometimes with like super harsh conditions. Like I ran at a track in St. Moritz, but Switzerland is like constantly freezing in the winter, warming up in the summer. And the track itself was like almost like cross country, it was undulating.
Yeah.
But this one is so nice, so smooth, and it's at 7,100 feet.
Yeah.
And this is a small town. And there's this beautiful facility basically at the top of the mountain. And then driving down like a kilometer or walking down like we did this morning, you've got all of these trails. Well, they're paved roads, but they just wind around the edge of the mountain. So you can run pretty flat for like 20K, 30K, or do something shorter for workouts. So all that to say is this area to me is like a hidden gem of training. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about how we got here.
Sure.
To start off. Like that's where we are.
Yeah.
But how did we get here? What's your perspective? How do we get to India, to Delhi, drive 7 hours up into the Himalayas?
10:30 in the night.
What are we doing?
Yeah. No, so back in early 2024, I was browsing through social media and I came across the story of this athlete, Sonam. And Sonam at the time had broken the national record for steeplechase under 23. And the story covered how even after doing that, she didn't have a lot of facilities, she didn't have a lot of support. And I wanted to do something. I didn't know what, but I wanted to do something. So I started looking up how is that I can get in touch with Sonam. Because I've been in the US for almost 20 years now. So finding people that can connect me where I have no connection was a challenge. So I started looking up, stalking one person after the other, and got in touch with her coach, Sanjeev. Found out what they needed. Rang a few friends. They trusted in me. They had no idea what I was doing, but they trusted. Gave me some money. We bought a bunch of shoes, nutrition, running watches, a bunch of other stuff, hacked them up, went to USPS, dropped it off, and 2 weeks later, those things were in India. And that's when I realized that thing is real,
Something that's kind of interesting about that is even further back, like you grew up in Delhi.
Yep.
And went to college, and then came in Delhi, then came to the United States. You've been there for 23 years?
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
And the way we met is you signed up to be a run-free athlete.
Yeah.
One of our coaches coached you for a little while, and then I started coaching you.
Over.
We developed a friendship. You came to our run-free camp.
Yeah.
We did another camp in Georgia. So you and I got to hang out several occasions doing different stuff. And then you're telling me about coming to the Himalayas and helping coach some of the coaches.
Yeah.
And then the idea there too is there's this great book called When Helping Hurts. And so the idea is if you go to a foreign community or foreign land and you want to help, the worst thing you can do is try and take over. And so that's been like the vision and mission here is you're going to supply some support to the coaches and athletes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we're both attempting to help the coaches actually coach their athletes.
Yeah.
We're not trying to take over.
No.
We're not trying to be the main people in charge. We're trying to support while we're here because the reality is, both of us are going to leave.
Yeah. We have our own lives.
And then they're going to be here. So if we do try to be like the big dog or the important person, that actually does a disservice. And that's like that book, When Helping Hurts. If you just ride in, do a bunch of stuff for the athletes, and you don't support the people that are actually doing the work, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
So that's been like the idea. And then there was a theme that brought kind of both of us here through our lives, which is following things that we're excited about. And I think that's what I was excited to do this podcast about was reminding people, encouraging our Run Free athletes, encouraging coaches, encouraging athletes, encouraging people in their profession, in their families, whatever, to find something they really are passionate about and go for it. Follow your heart and don't worry about some of the details. But I think that's both of us are like, we're kind of on an uncharted mission here.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned about it because I've been thinking about it quite a lot. I had no idea where this thing was going to go. I was not even sure that I was going to be able to help these athletes in any way. And I think about myself as I don't have a lot of resources that I can help people with, and I've lived with that for a long time. But just getting out there and helping other people is help. You don't have to. So there's a good framework that I follow. It's time, treasure, and talent. And you can help people with any three of them. You can go volunteer. You have treasure, you can share it. Right? And if you have a talent, like you are here trying to help these athletes, not just the athlete, but coaches to learn about things as well. And I want to point out this fact that you had a lot of trouble getting on that plane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Right? And you're not somebody as much as I've known you that deals with ups and downs. Right? So what was your constant? I know for me it's, follow your heart. What was your why that was driving you
to finish it out
and stay focused and not get frustrated? Like,
no, I was definitely frustrated. So I was trying to apply for my e-visa. It got denied. And then I reapplied. And I ultimately think it was probably my error in not following like some not well-defined instructions. But so I thought I followed them accurately the second time. And then I got an email that it was denied again. And then literally, so I was like, I'm not going. It wasn't meant to be. Maybe God has a different plan for me to do something different at home during this time.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah, and I was fine with that. I was like, okay. I'd come to peace with it after being frustrated. And then literally I was settled. I was like, I had calmed down, taken a deep breath. And then I got a second email 5 minutes later that said the visa was granted. And then 15 minutes after that, I was buying the flight. And then that evening, I was getting on the flight, which you had already planned to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going now. So I guess to answer that question, I'd almost go back to a story that I've told several times about Run Free in particular in coaching, where in 2004, I was trying to make the Olympic trials in the steeple. And I was in Hillsdale, Michigan, running a steeple. And I had signed up to run at Stanford 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later. I had no hotel, no money. I just had the flight. And I was like, I'll figure it out. And I saw on the entry list that Greg Jimerson was running the 10K, and he was from Palo Alto, California. So I let him run his 10K. He won, and then I went and cooled down with him. And I was like, hey, man, is there any way I could sleep on your couch in 3 weeks? And he was like, absolutely. In fact, I'll pick you up from the airport. that relationship led to him inviting me to training camp that summer. And then I met Ryan and Sarah and Neb Kefleski and Dina and all of these like top level athletes and got to do this really cool camp with other college athletes. And then Ryan and I develop a friendship. We stay in touch. And then all this while I'm coaching. That's my main profession most of my life. And we start a coaching program together. And then you sign up for it. And then we get to know each other. You invite me. It's just like, man, I just really love following this rabbit trail of your domain and your passion and your excitement because it leads you to, like, obviously it led us to the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Both of us together.
Yeah.
And to help people. So I guess my through line with all this is, I mean, if my visa is granted and I can go, then I'm going to. Like that's an easy decision for me because this is what I do, and I can provide some help to athletes.
Yeah,
that's something I easily. Now, if this was a camp for engineers or something like that, I definitely wouldn't go.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
So I think that's just the through line of like following what I'm excited to do, and that was so shocked to get here and see how good the facilities are and how good the training is. Like, I think this is like probably, and this is up there with Flagstaff, Mammoth Lakes. I mean, you have everything you need.
Yeah.
Right here. E10 Kenya is probably the closest. So there's this really cool restaurant in like hotel. It's like almost identical to what we're doing here in E10, and it's called Cario View. So there's a hotel, and then there's a restaurant. And so when we went there, we just stayed at the hotel. We ate most of the meals at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And then the track is jogging distance from
just like
there. It's the same setup. And I actually probably like here a little bit better than E10 because the track access is easier. Believe it or not, in E10, it's hard to get on the track sometimes, the real track.
Yeah.
And then I think the running roads here are really, really nice. And it's not super hilly, it's moderate.
Yeah.
So I think these athletes have like an incredible opportunity to do something absolutely incredible.
Yeah. You know, I do want to talk about one thing. You can do everything that you want because you want to do it, but you need a support system. So when I started with this effort back in 2024, I didn't really have a lot of money. So I asked friends, they helped me out. Then the vision grew from there, and I wanted to do a camp. So I started a GoFundMe, and you generously donated, and a bunch of other friends and family donated too. But my goal was 15K. I ended up short at 5,700. And I remember making that call to you saying, hey, I don't know if I can afford to bring you to India because I can't pay for the ticket and boarding and lodging. And then I remember you coming back and Ryan texting like, hey, we'll go. We're going to pay for our own ticket. And, we need to make a shout out to Ryan for saying that because that gave me a new set of energy, honestly. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I had kind of given up because I was tying everything back to GoFundMe and its success. Yes, you do need funds, but at the same time, you also need people that help you dream and dream big. So that was a big help from you and Ryan coming out and saying, let's go and we'll split the funds, whatever it takes to get there. And then seeing you, the visa getting denied, your flight getting canceled, reschedule, and book a new ticket. I think we gotta talk about people that help us get there. And you talked about story back in 2004 and how you met Ryan. What would you say to our athletes that are listening about creating that system?
Yeah, you and I talked a lot about this. Like, I think that remembering and learning how to have fun and play as an adult is really important. I think it provides room for creativity. emotional stability, mental stability. And so my encouragement would be find ways, and it may not be traveling to the Himalayas, and I mean it's pretty
Getting
extreme.
inside hard.
Yeah. But I mean it can be little things. It can be something simple like planning an afternoon where you go out and do a run and it's not a calculated, timed, I know all the details run. It's like something where you're going to be out in the woods for 4 hours and you bring some nutrition with you, bring some water with you, and you don't run the whole time and you go explore somewhere you've never been. Or it could be going on a trip or challenging yourself with a race distance that you've never done. And I think that's like the vision of Run Free and of our attitude that we're trying to help people like unlock their minds, do things that are exciting. And you're totally right about this trip. Like there does come a certain point where you're excited to do something and the details aren't working out, the money's not all there, but you really probably can still do it if you just commit and go for it. You could even do a small commitment and go for it in a race or an event where you challenge yourself to do something you've never done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's the attitude and mindset. And my hope is 10 years from now, we still have some involvement with this group.
Yeah.
And we're still helping them find that fun and joy in the sport and in experiences and in excitement and exploration and having fun. There's nothing worse than having an adult that forgets how to laugh, have fun,
Yeah.
and they're just super serious all the time, and there's no like play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's a big part for me is I want to continue. It's almost like I don't want that to happen to me. So when I have an opportunity to do something that's exciting, and Ryan was saying, "Hey, why don't we just go?"
Yeah.
And that's really easy. Yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's see what happens. So I have something I wanted to mention.
Sure.
So the mental approach of coaching, where we are trying not to take the very best athlete in this group and elevate them to the point where it takes away from the rest of the group.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that is hard to do when someone is very talented is create a team atmosphere and create an opportunity for everyone to be successful. And I think that's culturally a challenge too. So what do you think are the things that are going to help? And what is the group called?
So
What are we
right
gonna call it?
right now the group is not called anything, and I did think about a few things, and the thing that in my mind is called Poshak, and Poshak could be thought of as it can be thought of as a food that help nourish your body. Could be an idea.
You got to spell it.
Poshak, Poshak. And my idea with that was I don't want to dream for somebody else. I want to help you get to where your dream is, what you want to dream. I mean, I'm an engineer by trade, so there's a lot of structure that you need, but there is also a lot of freedom in um, when you think creatively, when you don't have the structure. So there's always this play. You go from structure to a free play and then back to structure. And when I was thinking about this camp and whole effort, I wanted it to be free from the structure. Not that I don't have a structure in mind, but I feel that when you think too much about structure at the very beginning, it kind of kills the idea. Now, what do I have in mind culturally or here for these athletes? It's very tempting to take athletes that are doing really, really good and bring them maybe to US for 2 months training camp, right? We can arrange the funds, they can stay with us. Very easy to do, very tempting to do. But I think if I were to do that, if I were to go down that path, I would be living my dream, not their dream. Having been to US and having been away from the family and the environment I grew in, I understand firsthand that you lose a big support system. not everybody can survive, and you lose access to the support system.
Oh, like when a foreign athlete comes to the US. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that with a lot of foreign athletes.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think that this well, I also think that this is like such an economically efficient training environment.
Yeah.
One of my goals is to make sure that the athletes understand how good they have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is really good.
Yeah.
Like, and if anyone is ever interested in coming somewhere and training for a month, hands down, this would be one of the top spots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the food's amazing.
People are amazing.
Yeah, the tea's amazing. I drink a lot of tea.
You do.
Yeah.
I drink 1 cup, and Jay's like 3 or 4 cups.
Yeah.
At one time.
Yeah.
At one time.
That's right. I might have
not
another
throughout
cup
the day.
later.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Good for you. So I think the challenge is culturally how, and again, there's a competition to get resources for yourself because you don't have resources. So you don't want to dismiss that desire, because that desire is real. You and I have time, treasure, and talent to come to the state, to India, spend 2 weeks, we'll fly back, continue our lives. While we're here, we don't have to worry about, are we going to get a next paycheck? It doesn't happen. We have enough resources to figure out. But some of these athletes, they do not. So it almost feels like I'll be doing a disservice to a few athletes and elevate them. So I'm thinking, how can we elevate everybody else? And I think we have had conversations. And one of the things that I strongly believe is leadership. You have to have role models. You have to have leaders that show you what a good model looks like. And Ryan and you do a lot of things where you follow your heart, and your athletes see it. The 5-finger approach for Run Free is not just about something that's written on a piece of paper. No, you guys are living it.
Yeah, that you talked about that too, like in creating, like helping these athletes with structure and doing it first, and play and doing the leadership by example. And so, I'm totally on board with the idea that they need to be secure here. And if they do come to the US for a race or something, it's for a short period of time. Then they got to come back and train some more and redo it. I think that's the most success.
Yes.
Because, right, I've seen a lot of Kenyan athletes come to the US. I actually know a few that their visas have expired, and they're like purposefully dodging so they don't have to go back.
And imagine,
but they're struggling.
Yeah.
But they're struggling
Yeah.
to make it.
Yeah.
And so that's a trap that you can get stuck in.
Yeah.
Where here they do have good support. They have their
Right.
families. And I also want to say, like, that book, When Helping Hurts, it makes total sense for you living here, growing up here, moving to the US, having success, and then coming back to give back to your community.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. But again, it also makes sense that you're coming back not to take over. Like, that is key.
Yeah. I have no desire of taking control.
Yes, you're
No
not
desire.
trying to take
No.
control. You're just trying to help a developmental group.
Yeah.
That I actually think this developmental group, there's a couple athletes that I think they're young, 22, 23 years old. I think in the next 5-6 years are going to make some waves on the national and the world stage.
I think so too.
In marathoning.
Yeah.
Like I've seen them run, and man, they're really, really talented. But we were talking to the coaches this morning. That talent is not going to happen and not going to be developed in 1 year.
No, not at all.
It's not going to be 2 years. It's going to be when these girls are 28, 25, 26, maybe even 30.
Yeah.
Where they see the height of their success in endurance sports, in marathoning. And thank you for saying that about, like, Run Free modeling the thought of the five fingers of nutrition, rest, training, the mental game, and the 1%, because, those five, Ryan is the one that coined those five. Like in our discussions in developing a coaching program, he was like, hey, these are the five things that if you do them all well, then your chances of success are way better. And the funny thing about that in our conversations developing the holistic five is we both agreed that even though he's had some of the highest level coaches ever. I've had some great coaches as well. And we both agreed most of our coaches didn't address these holistic five.
Yeah.
They would address the training. And that was really it. And the sleep, the nutrition, the mental game, the little extras, core strength, mobility, were kind of up to us to figure out.
Yeah.
Or they outsourced it to someone else, which was fine. But I think it's super exciting to take that holistic five and ask these athletes.
Yeah.
Because ultimately their training can be really good. But if they're not sleeping, their nutrition is poor.
Yeah.
If they're only in it for themselves and not the team, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And if they miss doing mobility, core strength, general strength, if their drills aren't good, if they don't do hill sprints, if they don't develop their speed and do all these components, when their competitors are doing it, they're not going to win.
They're not going to win. So it's funny because, okay, so this is whoever is listening and our athletes, this is your cue to get those foam rollers out and start stretching.
Yeah,
just kidding. So it's funny because you talked about five-finger approach, and to Poshak, I have three pillars that I've thought of, and I think I should talk to you and Ryan about this. The three pillars for me when I got in touch with Sanjeev, saw what Sona was doing and what their needs are, and now I'm here seeing things firsthand. So to me, the three big pillars are nutrition. Then there is training, essentially looking at planning and how we can get these athletes on a long-term plan. And the last piece for me is education. Now, I don't see education as something just related to running. It could be related to life. It could be related to how do you bring the stress down as an athlete. Many aspects of it. And the core of that is giving agency back to the athlete. That's the reason I have no desire to control, because I don't want agency on someone else's behalf. Because I'm afraid that if I do that, then I'll be driving it for them, which is a terrible, terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a bad driver, but I think when you drive for other people, you miss their dreams. So talk about the approach that you take, and you have a really excited this athlete that you think can do wonder. They think they can do wonder. How do you resist that urge? That excited energy that they bring in and stay focused. I know you do a great job, but I want you to talk about that thought process.
Yeah, I think one of the dangerous things is if, as a coach, you start to think that your coaching success is riding on that athlete's success. So if I put who I am as a person in the results of anything, but since we're talking about coaching, but if I put my self-worth in your success, now I'm afraid if you don't succeed, then that means I'm not valuable or I don't know what I'm doing. Whereas if I put my self-worth in who God made me to be and what he says is true about me, I'm not worried from a self-worth standpoint. I certainly want you to do well, and I'm vested in your success. But I'm vested in it not because it validates me. I'm vested in your success because it's going to be fun for you. So then if I dig deep and I find out, what do you enjoy about the sport? What do you want to accomplish? Then I become truly your coach and not your dictator, or, I'm not whipping you with the stick to get you to go. I'm coming alongside you, and maybe I'm a half step in front of you, showing you the way.
Yeah.
But it's more of a collaboration. Man, I really got to see that going to Mammoth when Meb Keflezighi was running, and his coach, Bob Larson, I believe is his name. So Bob Larson is like he was at UC, I think, where Meb or UCLA, I can't remember. Meb went to UCLA. Anyway, so Bob Larson was his coach in college, and then I got to see them interact in Mammoth. And Bob was like 70s, and Meb's like 25, 30, and up to when he was in his 40s training. And it was always a very respectful collaboration of what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. And Bob was like so chill. And then I also got this cool experience in college to be coached by Paul Dean, my college coach, who also just had this like unwavering confidence. And whether I did good or bad, he didn't change. And it wasn't him puffing himself up as, man, I coach so and so and so and so and so and so. And he was just as excited for my success as he was for the last person on the team's success when they worked hard. So that's the kind of atmosphere I think is fun to be in. And then I think the other thing that I learned is watching sometimes these pro athletes after the race is over and you're watching them interact and you can't tell who won. So the guy that won is not overly boastful, and the person that lost is not over in the corner crying. And you're like, oh, this isn't life or death. This can be fun. And so that's kind of like that lead by example thought process that I hope for all athletes, and particularly this group of young, these athletes are so young and they have so much talent and ability. I hope that they can come together and not look for individual success as much as like group success.
Yeah. So, during one of our conversation, question came up, what is your why? And you asked me, hey, think about what my why is to doing this camp. And one of the things that I truly believe in that you should leave, at least for me, I believe that I should leave more than what I take. The other principle for me is listen to your heart. Your heart is telling you something, you gotta follow. There is something there. And it's okay to look foolish at times. Big ideas, or an idea that looked foolish and fun, it is going to be fun, but it's not going to be foolish. I can promise you that.
Well, and sometimes like, big ideas and big goals, when people go for them, like you have to be prepared to fall flat on your face in a big way.
Yeah.
Like if you go for something big, it may go horribly wrong.
Sure. Right. And which is a good thing, at least for our bodies. We are flexible. We're not going to be flat like a cartoon.
Yeah.
So you talked about, from a coach's standpoint, what about the athlete standpoint? Because you have been on the both side of the equation. You've been an athlete, now you're a coach. What would you tell your younger self? A coach comes to you, they're happy. If they get somebody like you as a coach and you have an athlete that's come to you, what would you like to tell your younger self? Like if you were coaching your younger self,
I think I would probably. I mean, I've always asked a lot of questions, but I think I'd ask even more
questions.
And man, I really think that we're hitting the right things with the holistic 5. Like if you get those 5 things right, if you're sleeping really well, like that's something Ryan and I've talked about. It's like he said all the time, he wasn't even a runner when he was a pro. He was a professional sleeper. Like that was his comment. I think pro athletes and really good athletes are good at sleeping. So like learning about sleep is very important. I think learning your body, we call it the 1%, like doing all the little things, assessment about your body, how your body works, asking questions.
Where it is.
I think I would have done a lot more on the nutrition. I think that's why I'm so fit right now at 44 is those three areas and the mental side too. The mental side I think is tough because that one's hard to rush.
Talk
So
about that
I
process.
think a lot of the times the mental is gonna be developed with time. Like you're not gonna just like you could do something and fix your sleep. That is possible. I think it's very hard on the mental side. That just takes time and effort. I think you can make improvement, but I think the mental is more incremental over time.
So what you're saying is it's not just about the five things that the coach is giving you, but you also have to engage with those five things and understand. Nutrition might take a little quicker to fix than your mental game. And that is okay. That doesn't mean you're not getting it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're not doing it right.
Yep. And I also think one note I had was there tends to be on the nutrition side, like what I would have done younger is I wish I would have understood the difference between a nutritional avoidance mentality, like I'm going to avoid, sugar, or I'm going to avoid fat, or I'm going to avoid too many calories, or I'm going to avoid this. I wish I had understood that versus timing, because there is a certain time of day that you want to avoid too much sugar, too much caffeine. Like you do not want to have huge amount of sugar, huge amount of caffeine, and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, so there clearly is a time when you need to avoid things. But if you have just the avoidance mentality,
yeah,
but you don't understand like timing, then you've got a problem, because now you're going to think sugar's bad all the time.
I remember during one of our run free camp, we were out with Cody doing shopping, and something that he said is still stuck with me is that people create these relationship with food. Oh, this is a bad food.
Yes.
That's a good food. Like, no.
Yeah.
You have to understand
when. Yeah.
What is the purpose of that food?
When. Right? Because, ice cream and a donut could be amazing.
Right after a workout.
Right after a workout.
Yeah. They're amazing, by the way.
Like dessert is good. Yeah. Well, in another scenario where dessert could be good is let's say you're in 14 miles and you had a good breakfast, you had a good lunch, you followed good timing of macros, you got your protein after you ran, your lunch was enough food for your second run, but not so much that you're bloated and feel bad.
Yeah.
But you've got enough energy for the second run. You do the second run, you have a little more protein, you have a light dinner because you've eaten all throughout the day and you fueled well. And then you're like, you know what? I'm still 300 or 400 calories under where I need to be. Man, it's fine. 300-400 calories of ice cream. Like that can be really good. And so understanding the timing, the macros, the big picture, and understanding that the worst thing you can do is under fuel for large periods of time. Now, I will say that it's probably going to be hard to overfuel during like super heavy training blocks. Like you're probably going to be slightly under if you've got a huge block.
Yeah.
And that's okay for short periods of time. But I think the athletes understanding like this, like I wish someone had given me more thought process about timing and understood that, you're messing with me about my 3 cups of tea in the morning.
Yeah.
But that's like my pre-run sugar.
That's a pre-run sugar. So what's the alternative to that when you're at home?
I just love Kenyan, Indian tea, the way it's made. I think it's delicious. So I'm definitely overindulging because I'm here.
People are amused here, by the way.
They think it's really funny.
Drinking, and there's an Indian here who's like, just 1 cup. And he's like, Jay's like, another cup. Cup.
Yeah, give me 3.
Give me 3.
So if I was at home, I likely would just have like I like this root beer blank sports nutrition and have that one, or maybe some other sport nutrition drink.
Yeah.
And it'd be similar calories, but really it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's sugar. It's sugar, and I'm taking it before I'm going to run. I'm taking sugar, water, and electrolytes before I go run. I'm fueling during a lot of times, and then the protein. Like I've actually got a mixture of now protein, collagen peptides, creatine, and inulin is what I'm taking, and some electrolytes after. So we've got this kind of concoction of these things that's helping a ton. So I want to share that with the athletes.
Yeah.
So I wish someone had been more intentional where I didn't have to ask the question, but they gave me the information. And I think that's part of like my personal vision mission with coaching is I want to share the nutrition, the 1%, the sleep, and I want to try and be as close to an expert as I can on all of them, because outsourcing all these things is super expensive. And a lot of the times outsourcing these things, you don't have a continued relationship where you can ask a follow-up. And there's a lot of bad information out there too.
Yeah.
So I want to sift through that bad information and drill it down to the things that really matter.
So, before this trip, or when you met me at the airport, you gave me a paper to read because this new supplement you're taking. And your comment to me was, well, I can explain you what it is, but I want you to read this. Right? And I think that's such a wonderful approach, is because you're giving your athletes or anyone that you are working with, or even in your life, you can use this principle where you give people just enough. You don't answer the question for them. You stroke their curiosity, even if they're not curious. I think that opens up people to be more curious. So, quick snapshot or a quick maybe summary or brief review on that paper and what you have found out about hunger and the three different pathways.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm attempting to do, I wrote a first draft of a book. I call it The Dessert Diet.
The Dessert Diet, okay.
Just because I really like desserts, and I think it's ridiculous for somebody to suggest that you need to avoid a category of foods. Like, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And if you look back in historically, you've got like the demonizing of sugar, and so we get sugar substitutes. And then you get, well, fat's bad, so then people replace that with sugar. And then you get this trend, well, you should only eat protein. It's just the Atkins diet. And then you have no carbohydrate. Well, carbohydrate is the primary fuel source of the human body. So it would be like saying, well, gasoline has some water in it, but gasoline's bad, so let's just put water in it. It's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
You're going to feel horrible. So I think all of these paradigms in nutrition, like, they lack a common sense. And also, like, the title, The Dessert Diet, I just think is funny because you're talking about, like, for me, somebody who's lean and wants to be as light as possible. Like, I want to be as light as possible so I can run as fast as I can. But I also want to be healthy and muscular, and I don't want to calorie restrict to the point where I have some kind of weird metabolic issue.
No hormone imbalance.
Yeah, no hormone imbalances. But I wanted to navigate, how can I eat healthy in a systematic way where different periods of the year have different focuses. So it's periodizing your nutrition. And one of the problems I had was I have a period where I'm trying to teach myself how to lose weight during a period of the racing year. And then my goal when that period's over, usually 6 to 8 weeks, I will purposefully gain weight. I will purposefully get back up to where I know my hormonal balance is good. So right now I'm in this period of being ultra strict with my nutrition. and I'm getting faster and a little bit lighter, but trying not to lose power. But the biggest issue I was coming across is I was so hungry all the time. And I hate being hungry. But I'm trying to be slightly under in a calorie deficit so I can lose some weight, but still have energy. I'm still fueling well. There's no category of food I'm not eating. So I read this research article on 3 pathways of hunger. There's homeostatic hunger, which is you're not eating enough calories and you want to eat more. It stimulates you to want to eat more. That pathway is actually one of the lighter pathways of hunger.
Interesting.
The second one is hedonic hunger, where you eat to replace some loss or trauma or issue in your life. You're bored or you're sad or
watching TV.
Somebody hurt you or you're used to going to the movies and having an entire tub of popcorn. So that's what you do only because you're used to it and you believe you deserve that.
Yeah.
Right? I should do that. Those kind of attitudes. And then the third one is a microbiotic hunger, which I think is the strongest pathway. Depending on the hedonic, like what your issues are, that one can be stronger. So the microbiotic pathway is your gut microbiome is not balanced, and it's sending signals that you're hungry and to eat when you actually don't really need to. So this is the signal that semaglutide is solving for people that are overweight. So Wegovy and Ozempic and all those,
GLP-1.
Yeah, the GLP-1. So another thing that helps that GLP-1, and not just GLP-1, because I think people are a little too obsessed with that term.
It's famous right now.
Yeah, it's really popular to say, oh, GLP-1, GLP-1. But I think another area that your gut needs is you need good prebiotic and probiotics. And they create a stomach lining that's a little thicker, absorbs nutrients slower, and just in general makes you feel fuller. So probiotics, people are pretty familiar with them. They're gut bacteria, and they're in yogurts and fermented things, and you can take a probiotic pill. Prebiotics are fibers that come out of like roots and plants and vegetables and fruits and things. Well, inulin is one of the prebiotics that has the most power with satiety. So I've been mixing inulin with my protein drink, and then prebiotics feed on inulin, and they create a gut microbiome that is more robust. So that's like the short answer to all that.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of research on it. There's a decent amount. Inulin also makes you really gassy if you take too much of it, which I totally did. I started with 30 grams, which is not advisable.
And how much are you taking right now?
20.
20, so 10 grams.
But I should have built up to it because
Okay.
I had a couple days where, it was not fun to be around. But yeah, like those types of things are the things that, like, I want to go deeper layers into those things and into sleep and into like assessing your total body's movement, finding things to fix. Like these are all things that these athletes need, that I need, and that I think I wish I had had someone or a group of people that cared about all of this stuff at the same time and were giving me like a load of information to follow, because those are the things that you can actually get better at, when a lot of times athletes are looking for a secret workout.
Yes.
I think these things are even more important than the secret workout structure.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, whether you do, 20 by 400 or 10 by 800 or,
8 times K.
8 times K or 10 times K, I mean, all of those workouts are kind of similar, right? And you need different ones at different times, but I don't think that's as complicated as we make it out to be. Like, what aren't you getting? Make sure you're getting it. Like, oh, I don't feel like I can I don't like my top end speeds as good. Okay, well, let's work on that. Or I feel like my threshold, my ability to sustain a pace isn't good. All right, let's do some threshold work and let's really beef that up. So I think, and there's so much good information on training now. Like you can find pretty good training advice, but this other stuff is piecemealed and it's kind of all over. And sometimes you get really bad advice. Like somebody was telling me don't eat bananas because they have too much sugar in them. And I'm like, maybe if you have diabetes.
Sure. Yeah.
Today, bananas should be part of your regular diet.
Down here is the word fix. I think a lot of people have different definitions. The definition or understanding of the word fix that I've come across in talking generally athlete, somebody's trying to get faster, somebody's trying to be stronger. And there is an ability in us humans, when we get fixated, we kind of lose the context. So you're not bringing fix for a hunger just for a fix. You're looking at holistically what you're doing for yourself, what you're trying to learn. Okay, I want to, put my eating in periods where I'm okay. Here's a phase. I'm trying to get to my race. Wait, now is the phase I'm building. So you're understanding the whole thing and not just saying, okay, this is hedonic. This is not good. This is your homeostasis. That's better, or your gut is a better indicator. You're not saying any of that. You're saying understand these things and see how they
And
fit.
you can manipulate
You
them.
can manipulate them and
Yeah.
where they fit with you.
Well, and you can repeat them.
You can repeat them.
So whether it's, man, one tip that like I'm gonna put, like I have this sleep tips document. I think I've shown it.
Yeah.
So I have this sleep tips document. One I'm gonna put in there that I tested traveling here. By the way, that was the longest I've ever traveled. This is the furthest I've ever been away. 8-hour flight, 8-hour flight, 7-hour drive. That's
And,
right.
Yeah. Plus transit time.
Yeah. In between.
In between.
Yeah. So it was basically 3 days to get here. One thing I did that I've never done before is I knew I wasn't going to sleep as much during those 3 days. In the past, I don't know why I've done this. When I was tired traveling, I would fight it to watch a movie or fight it to do some work or whatever. This time I tried to budget and pay attention to when I felt sleepy. And even if I didn't actually sleep, I was forcing myself to like meditate, pray, be calm, try to sleep when I felt tired. And I would have my little eye things and my earplugs, and I put them on. And I had one time on the plane, I think it was 4 hours on one of the flights, where I was tired. I couldn't really go to sleep. I had a few little dreams where I like nod my head and wake up, But I probably looked at my watch 6 times, and I set out with that goal of I'm going to rest for 4 hours. So I did nothing for 4 hours but close my eyes and try to calm down and relax. And even if I wasn't worried about going to sleep. So I did that on both flights. And then I did it in between one of the flights. And then driving here, I did it again. Never have I felt that good traveling internationally before. I think in the past I fought myself. And I think that made me even more tired to fight the sleep pressure. I just gave it. When I felt it, I would just give into it. And I'd be like, all right, cool. Maybe I can't lay down, but I can rest for 4 hours, and that's worth something.
So the theme that I'm getting at here is that there is this concept of curse of knowledge. The more you understand, the more you don't understand, because you then start realizing, wait a minute, there's so much to know. But if I were to flip it and say, there is a lot of information that you're getting from your own body. So if you were to flip that switch and look inside, you might come up with insight that are very, very valuable to you.
Yeah, for the moment in real time. Yeah.
You don't need a tracker that's telling you what's your heart rate. Now, I'm not saying that's not useful at all. I'm simply saying that there is a value in turning that sensor in, or creating that inner sensor and paying attention to that.
Yeah, and I think too, um, no matter where you are, you can pursue all of these ideas and all of these things uh, systematically, and you can pursue them like you know at levels, and there's always a level deeper you can go. So that is what I enjoy about the sport and about sleeping and nutrition and all these things you're never done. Like your mental approach, you're never going to be done developing your mental approach to anything.
Yeah.
Like that's great. I would be really sad if I finished. And then I was like, well, I guess that's it.
I
I'm
took
done. I
this.
just got to sit here in this
Yeah.
level for the next
Yeah.
like 50 years.
I took this class in neurobiology, and one of the ideas that the instructor presented to us was when you go to sleep and after you wake up, you don't wake up in the same brain. And think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Those
Yeah, you
neurons
develop.
connections have changed because the mind was repairing. So if you took an absolute snapshot that could capture everything in your brain before you went to sleep, and after you woke up, it's not the same brain.
Yeah, you
And
develop.
that's true throughout your life.
Yeah. So I think back to the athletes.
Yeah.
Like and I get it. Like you can't expect someone to go from whatever the level is, level 3 to level 100.
Yeah.
But you can get them from level 3 to level 5.
Yeah.
And so to me, from a coaching standpoint with a group, I am just as excited about the very best athlete getting from level 10 to level 12 in their mental game as the athlete that maybe is at the back of the pack getting from level 1 to 4. Like that is the point. That is the point. Continue to develop the person, continue to develop different areas, and you can have focuses during different times of year.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard thing with the nutrition. Back to the nutrition is the biggest problem with losing weight for athletes if you have a disordered eating is that they never budget time on purpose to gain it back. Because theoretically, if you lost 1 pound per week every week in a year, you lose 104 pounds.
That's a long-term thinking.
It's not good.
And a lot of discipline.
It's not good.
That's not good.
You don't want to lose 104 pounds
Yeah.
unless you weigh maybe 400. But these athletes don't weigh enough to do that.
Yeah.
So then you're talking about during racing season, maybe they lose 3 or 4 at the most, and then you maintain during your racing season. And then when you take time off, you gain all that back on purpose. You restart with another hormonal balance, and you do the whole process again. So I think that is that's a level 20 idea, right? And maybe some people don't even need to go there. First, they need to make sure they're getting their post-run protein and they're fueling during their workouts. And you don't even talk about weight.
Yeah.
That'd be like level 2 to me. And then once you're doing all that, you can go to, okay, I need more fiber in my diet so I can have a stronger gut. And you can go to, I need to get my genes tested so I know what form of vitamin I absorb best.
Yeah.
So I think everything in the sport has all of those types of levels. And that's why it's so exciting to take a group like this, where ability-wise, they may be at level 20.
Yeah.
But some of their other areas are at level 1 or 2. Like if we take them to level 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, then plus their ability level, then they run fast.
So let me throw a question at you. You do a lot. You study a lot. You read a lot. You gather information from very different domains. I've known you for almost 4 years now. And that's a lot of brain power. That's a lot of commitment. That's a lot of budgeting you're doing with your time. And we got to acknowledge that budgeting doesn't naturally comes to everyone. So if you could distill what you do in simple principles, it's not always that simple. What would that look like?
For me, it's pretty insane because since I was like 13 or 14, I'm almost viewing everything through a lens of how can this make me better.
Mm.
So like even to the degree like in grad school when we're studying like the heart and they're talking about like the ejection fraction and the left wall size and all of this stuff and like I'm asking a question about because there was this guy Ryan Shea and he had a heart attack. He's a runner. And a heart attack because he had hypertrophy of his heart. And then like I'm asking questions to understand hypertrophy of the heart from an athletic standpoint so that I can assess myself and see how that could make me better. Like
interesting. How do you go from heart attack to that?
I'm just constantly like on this wheel of I wonder how that would affect me. I wonder how if that would be better. And then like I mean it's just I think if you're really going to be good at something, you kind of have to have a slightly unhealthy obsession with it.
Mm.
Like you're gonna be slightly unbalanced, like in your approach. You're gonna overdo it. So I don't know if that's like advice to overdo it. I don't know if that's good.
I don't know either.
I don't know if that's good or not, but I mean that is like my process. Like I have a routine that I do in the shower when I wash my feet. Like it's like a foot mobilizing foot health thing because I want to squeeze in some mobility
while you're showering.
While I'm showering because I feel like that was a missed opportunity to do something. Right? So I mean I think that's the level of stupidity of
no.
But for me that's not a burden.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, that makes me excited to do my mobility and know that I got that movement in that I know helps with. It's like a toe splaying. Like what I do when I wash my feet, and then I'll take my fingers when my feet are soapy, and I'll stick my fingers in between all my toes, and then I'll do some ankle circles with my foot.
Remember that?
Because it's just a Mitchell Robertson or 1%. Taught me that.
Yeah.
So I do that when I shower, partially because when your foot's soapy, it's easier to get fingers in there. You can really get them in tight. And then like the other just stupid thing, like I could probably talk for an hour about sleep positions.
It's getting darker and it's colder.
Yeah. So I have like 8 or 10 like I think really good sleep positions that are good for back, neck, and then like if my hip bothers me, like I know the position it doesn't. If my Achilles is tight, I go to a different one. And so like there's some insanity to the process that's going on.
So I guess what I'm getting from you is there's nothing good or bad about being a little imbalanced. You kind of have to pick and choose your approach. And if you want something, you have to give up something. And that's just life.
Yeah, you're budgeting your time and your energy.
Yeah.
I think that's true of most pro athletes. Like they're not living balanced lives. Like they're insanely pursuing a specific goal in a way that is like nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
And this is completely different. There's this researcher that I absolutely like, Brené Brown, and she talks about how partnerships are never 50-50. Some days you're doing 70, the other partner is doing 30, and some days it flips. So I think that's what you're saying, that even pro athletes, completely different domain, they're not living balanced in every aspect. Some things are more balanced than the other, and that's okay as long as you understand what that imbalance is and what that creates for you. If that's not 5 fingers, then you have to have certain principle about that imbalance.
Yeah. Well, and like if you love doing something, like if you love, hiking mountains and you're not doing it,
then what are you doing?
then why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
Right?
So this is a great spot to close our conversation today. But before we go, um, I want to thank you for your openness. I want to thank Ryan for his openness because you guys kept the dream alive and this is happening.
The dream.
And yeah, and I think you do need people that encourage you to dream big and not be afraid. And I know that over the years, since I started training with you guys, I have said, I don't want to call them aggressive goals, but I've started challenging myself more, not just in running, but outside of running as well. So, would you close this with this conversation today with what your why is? Because I started with what my why was at the beginning, and I wanted to ask you what your why is and what you have to say to people that are listening.
So do you mean like why for my own training or coaching?
You why to things that you do. What drives you? If you can distill that down.
I think ultimately I have a belief similar to Eric Little. Have you seen the movie Chariots of Fire?
No.
So Eric Little was a missionary to China, but he also was a 100-meter and 400-meter guy in the Olympics. And he had a famous quote, and he said that he felt like God made him for a purpose. And he said when he runs, he feels God's pleasure. And so I feel like God's given everybody gifts on the earth, specific ones that they have that other people don't have, like a fingerprint. So I think for me, it's just exploring those gifts and like enjoying them. It's pretty simple. Like, what am I good at? What do I enjoy? How can I help someone? And I've come to be more at peace with that as I've gotten older, and I've stopped trying to be as broad in my approach, and I've gotten a little more like, oh, that is my gift. That's the direction I need to go. And I've gotten better at saying no to things that I'm like, I don't know about that one. I think I'm gonna not pursue that, but I'm gonna pursue this. And that goes back to your heart issue, like pursuing purpose for me as an individual. It's tremendously satisfying to do life that way. So I think that's what it is, like just to pursue the gifts that I have and develop them.
Let your heart lead you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jay, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
And I'm excited for the next few days of training we have. Thank you.
Yeah, sweet. And if anybody listening wants to support this group, we're gonna have a GoFundMe link below that you can donate, and just be assured all that's gonna go straight to the athletes. And we'll do another one and catch up. Maybe talk a little bit more specifically about athletes' ability, talent, who they are, what we think they can do.
Maybe you can bring some pictures.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have them in the background.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be super cool. All right, later.
Bye.